I'm Mallory Starrett, and today we're going to be talking about sleep. Simplest pleasure of life. Although it is well known sleep is essential for all species, the questions of why and how still remain a mystery. The function of sleep is an ongoing investigation through the study and research of renowned scientists around the world. Some key questions we're going to be attempting to answer today through some of this modern research are: how has sleep evolved? We're going to look at kind of different species and how are their sleeping patterns, and then maybe try to see if those sleeping patterns have changed from the past. And then how does sleep vary across species? Scientists have been trying to understand the function of sleep better by doing a lot of cross-species studies in order to see how species differ and therefore infer why they differ. And finally, if we cannot say what the function of sleep is exactly, scientists have at least discovered the best ways to sleep that allow us to function at our best. So, how has sleep evolved? A lack of sleep can ultimately lead to developmental issues, shorter lifespan, and overall cognitive abilities. And this is across all species within the animal kingdom. Poor sleep just has a lot of detrimental consequences. So let's kind of look at the stages of sleep. This has helped scientists better understand brainwave activity and sleep disparities amongst different people as well as animals. So we have the first period, which is waking periods, the second, non-rapid eye movement or NREM, slow wave sleep or deep sleep, and then finally REM, which is just rapid eye movement or paradoxical sleep, which is when you dream. So species vary when it comes to these stages, and this has kind of helped scientists begin to understand why certain animals have different cognitive abilities or require less or more sleep. But the function of the cycles and the stages is still yet to be discovered. So there's reasons mammals vary in sleep duration. It's dependent on social, cultural factors, gender, BMI, diet, their brain size. So for example, cultural factors. In Japanese culture, they just sleep on average less, and they are more likely to take periodic naps throughout the day rather than having a full 8 hours or 9 hours worth of sleep a night. And then regarding gender in animals, for example, lions, male lions sleep about anywhere from 18 to 20 hours a day, but female lions sleep significantly less because female lions are the hunters in a lion pride. So another interesting thing is brain size. In my mind, I was thinking the bigger the brain, the more sleep you need. But African elephants only sleep approximately 3 to 4 hours a day. And animals with smaller brains like armadillos sleep over 18 hours a day. So that's really interesting. But in humans, we also have a wide range of sleep duration, anywhere between 5 to 10 hours a day. So let's look. Why do humans kind of have these wide gaps in sleep duration? Genetic variation can really help explain that. Achieving a full understanding of sleep function requires this detailed characterization of the genetic and molecular and neuronal properties associated with sleep and wakefulness. So over the last couple decades, worldwide scientists have created genetic model systems in order to try to characterize what genes go with sleep. And they've been looking at all kinds of animals, such as the fruit fly or I'm going to totally botch this, the Drosophila melanogaster. And looking at different animals from different phylums has been particularly advantageous in elucidating genetic and molecular components underlying sleep. So trying to understand what genes and also how genes affect sleep duration and just the stages and the cycles in general. So, how sleep varies across species and the mysterious importance of sleep. So, the brain is actually active while you're sleeping. It's doing a lot. But what's also interesting is our brains actually produce noise while we're sleeping, kind of like an engine. So, Dr. Jad Amubrad was sitting in his class when his professor, Nobel Prize winner Dr. Eccles, played the class high-pitched noises on a tape recorder back in 1972. Dr. Eccles revealed to the class that the noise was the sound of his cat's brain while he was sleeping. And he had managed to do this by making an incision on top of the animal's head and drilling holes through the animal's skull, which is why he inserted electrodes. Which is when he inserted electrodes in order to pick up on like the sound frequencies. Also horrifying. Can't believe he did that to his cat. But it's very interesting to know that our brains are very active and even producing noise while we're sleeping, even though we're completely unconscious. But that's not true, because sleep does vary in other animals. Even though humans are unconscious when they sleep, dolphins are not. Well, not completely. So dolphins are an interesting species to observe when it comes to sleep, because they are conscious breathers. They actively have to go for air due to them being mammals every time they need oxygen. But dolphins also get about the same amount of sleep as we humans do, which is approximately like 7 to 8 hours a day. They are able to get this amount of sleep because they are not completely unconscious when they sleep. Half of their brain is actually still active. So when they are sleeping, they can still swim up for air. Now, what's interesting is that when it comes to consciousness with humans, we have to be basically like, our brains have to be completely shut off. In the 1980s, sleep enthusiast and scientist Dr. Shank began diagnosing people with parasomnia. So basically, parasomnia causes people's brains to never completely shut off during sleep. So they can never really go through the normal stages of sleep. They can never reach deep sleep or like REM totally. This caused a huge percentage of the patients to experience visceral dreams of being attacked and extreme night terrors of namely like faceless threats. They were like, it was almost like their physiological system was just like constantly prepared for a threat, probably due to their brain not being completely unconscious. So it was always prepared for an attack. But it is still unknown. So finally, after all that, we're going to see how to sleep to function better, even if we don't understand the function. So mental imagery really aids people in the act of falling asleep. Psychologists, as well as biologists, recommend that if you're trying to fall asleep, you should imagine yourself doing calming real-life action, such as walking through the park or riding your bike down a path. Meditation helps people fall asleep, and it aids the REM cycle as it calms a person's active mind. REM, or rapid eye movement, I was talked about before, is the stage where we dream. And then finally, I found this very interesting, is that like, how do over-the-counter medicines like melatonin affect our sleep? And what's interesting is that they actually prohibit a lot of the time deep sleep and REM cycle from occurring. It kind of just like knocks you out, but it doesn't really allow your brain to fully like unwind. So like, how does all of this relate to Bio 101? We never really talked about sleep. But sleep is evolutionary and it varies across species, which is something we frequently talked about in class. Variation in allele frequency as well as genes affect sleep, as it affects almost all biological mutations. So like more specifically, although single cells have been identified that contribute to naturally occurring variations in sleep, sleep is kind of like it comes from more of a variety of genetic structure. They've been doing a lot of genome studies recently to really understand like sleep duration. And then humans vary about 5% in sleep. They've learned that over the past few decades due to these genome studies. In Bio 101, we spent quite a bit of time on understanding gene pools and genotypes and allele frequencies, which are responsible for like all the variation we see between and among human beings. So it makes sense that other biological functions, such as sleep, have such significant genetic influence. Also, your cells need sleep, essentially. Like specifically your brain cells, your neurons, and in Bio 101, we spent a lot of time talking about the importance of cells functioning in the body. And it's kind of just essential that, you know, your body's functioning correctly and your cells they're all good. They're in tip-top shape. So like the big picture, sleep is essential to all of the animal kingdom, and especially humans due to our complex and evolved brains. And over time, it seems as if humans are actually getting less sleep. So maybe we're getting smarter, or maybe we're not sleeping enough because we're working too hard. Sleep is still such a mystery in so many ways, and the function of sleep is a complete mystery to scientists. You know, why do we dream? How much sleep is necessary? Why do people differ? We know it's genetics, but like, how did that come about? Was it environmental factors, you know? But through studies across species, like evolutionary research, sleep disorder research and studies, as well as learning about the ways we best fall asleep, helps further unveil these mysteries surrounding sleep. And then here are my references. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening. You know, sleep well, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Try to get about 8 hours in there. Thank you.